Welcome back to Rocky Knob Farm and our YouTube channel. I'm Jason Eakers, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today and give you an update on where we're at and what we're into. So it's getting around time of year we love. We've been plowing some and we had some rain, so it kind of halted the plowing for a little while. But we went ahead and we went and got us a couple ton of fertilizer, which is very expensive this year. And we went and picked up our 16 by 24 greenhouse that we've been wanting to get and start our plants in. So that's what brings me today to think about sharing with you a little bit of information on fertilizer. So did you ever think what the three numbers represent on a bag of fertilizer? So the three numbers on a bag of fertilizer will represent nitrogen, phosphate, or potash. Some people call it potassium. So what these numbers represent is that's a guaranteed analysis that this fertilizer, other than other nutrients, has 19% of each, because it's triple 19. If this number was, say, 15, then it would be guaranteed 15% phosphate. But the NPK chart is what you go by, and it's always the same: nitrogen, phosphate, or potassium. So nitrogen is what makes the plants green. Phosphorus makes strong roots and makes the plants bloom. Potassium is just like a nutrient that provides overall health of the plant. Different vegetables would use different fertilizers. Not that you couldn't use any fertilizer, but you don't want to burn your plants up. Corn takes a very high nitrogen, and that's why we use triple 19 on corn. You wouldn't want to use triple 19 around tomato plants because it would more than likely burn them up. So that also brings up the subject of the price. Last year, I think I gave around $400 a ton for triple 19, which is what we buy the most of because of corn. And this year, it's up some places. I seen when I called around to pre-order, it was around $760. So $760 from $400 last year is quite a bit of difference. It's got me wondering how much vegetables and the prices is going to raise this year. So a lot of people don't realize that when you buy off of a local farmer or even commercial farmers, depending on the price of seeds and fertilizer is kind of what makes up the market price. For example, if you was buying fertilizer a lot cheaper this year, then farmers could afford to lower prices and still make up their margin. So now let's stop in the greenhouse and see how things are going with Tab.
So we're going to fast forward about 2 weeks. As you can see, these hanging pots are doing absolutely wonderful. Look how bushy they're getting. Just those three little plants, little plugs that I showed you a couple weeks ago, this is how much they have grown. They're doing great. Okay, so here are a few more of the plants that are hanging on this side. Now, some of them aren't as big and pretty and bushy as the others that I just showed you, but they are getting there. Some of them, if you will look, see in here, it's already starting to bud. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pinch that little bud off. It is disappointing picking off those first buds because it's exciting to get to be able to see flowers this early. But here's another one. And what we're gonna do, you pinch it off all the way back to the stem. See here where I just pinched it off? This allows the growth to go back into the plant and not just into that one bloom, because you want these plants to be just as big and full and bushy as the others that I just showed you. But it does look like everything is going great. I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few other seedlings that I have that's doing very good. These here are peppers, and it's almost time to transplant those into pots of their own, or seed cells, as you call them. If you'll look real close though, some of them are still coming through the ground. Some of those seeds are still coming up. So I'm going to try to leave them alone as long as I possibly can to give all of the seeds the opportunity to germinate. See, here's some more. Some little ones. Everything does seem to be growing good, considering that I did have a 2-week delay. Here is lettuce. It's butter crunch lettuce. It's wonderful tasting lettuce early in the spring. Tomato plants. Tomatoes have really kind of disappointed me, but they are coming along pretty good. We had a mouse earlier, a couple weeks ago, so that's one reason that we're running a little bit behind. Had a mouse get in here and decided to dig up a bunch of seeds and make dinner out of them, so I had to reseed everything. Okay, something else that I have been working on the past couple days is cabbage. I had cabbage in this long tray here. As you can see, some of it started getting a little big, but do you see how it has 3 leaves on it? I always make sure that anytime I'm transplanting something that it has those 3 leaves. That true leaf is what I call the 3rd leaf. That just means, you know, we've got a really healthy plant here. And here are just a few that I've transplanted. But they are doing good. This cabbage is called an early golden acre cabbage. It's a small headed cabbage, but it grows great. So here is another tray of cabbage. This is a red cabbage. It is called red acre cabbage. As you can see, this is my next project to tackle. Some of these have actually gotten too tall, but you can see that they've all got those 3 leaves on them, and they are ready to be transplanted. Although I am running a couple weeks behind, I'm still very pleased with just in the past 2 weeks how everything has started growing. The seeds, especially after having the mouse dig and attack everything. But I'm excited. I think everything is growing great. A lot of it still has a long ways to go, but we are getting there.
So stay tuned for more videos here at Rocky Knob Farm, and hopefully we'll be plowing again soon, and it won't be too much longer, and we'll be using the planter and planting some corn.